hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took
Coming
from the
up
people
on
will
Unscripted
return
with
to them.
Daniel. In this episode, I have two Democratic candidates for the Porter County Council District 3. I have Greg Sims and Jack Tippold. These are the boundaries to District 3. To the north, it's Route 6. To the south, it's Division Road. To the east, it's 49. And to the west, it's 149.
I think if you're going to run for office, you're doing it for the right reasons. You think you can do a better job than someone either is already in there, or if it's an open seat, you're better than the person that's going to oppose you.
Right.
And you have an agenda of let's do great for our community, and the focus is that. It's not focused on me or a you, it's a we.
I'm not out there for a 25-minute follow-up. I'm out there on the line with them. I know what's going on with them. I know their concerns. I know why they're worried about their NIPSCO bill. I know why they're worried about the price of groceries, okay? I know. I've been there. And it's important that we get language in that to protect working class families. That's one of the most instrumental things in me wanting to run is to help the working families here in District 3.
Hello, WVLP listeners. I hope you enjoy this episode of Unscripted with Daniel. Welcome to Unscripted with Daniel. I'm Daniel, and today we have Greg Sims.
Hello.
Hello, Greg. He is a councilman.
Correct.
Of the Porter County Council District 3.
Correct. Which is basically Valparaiso. City of Valparaiso, yes.
Right. Now, you are running again.
Correct.
For county council. Can you just tell me a little bit more about yourself and maybe like your impact on the community, what you do in county council, those sorts of things? People want to hear that.
Well, you're asking for a lot here. I was a public school teacher for many years. I coached football I'm originally from the city of Chicago, and I took a job at the University of Valparaiso coaching football.
Oh.
Started in 1990, so I've been here like 36 years, whatever.
Wow.
And it was one of those things where I was going to come for 2 years, get my master's degree, coach football at a college level, and then go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I have never left. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy. When you look back, it sounds crazy to think you were young, energetic, all this stuff, and I got the whole world, and then I ended up staying here. Well, what does that say about here?
Yeah.
That this is a great place to be. It was a great place to raise a family, great school systems, and yeah, that's basically what happened. So I got sucked into this Valparaiso vortex. And I just
Not
never
that that's a bad thing.
Oh, no, it's a very good thing.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I was in a meeting the other day, and some people from downstate, and I had commented that we live in Porter County is the best county in the state. Now, one of them was from Marion, and they go, well, wait a second, no, we've got you beat. I really do believe that. Now, they've got more money than us, and there may be a few more bigger things going on, but when you look at what we have here in the county in regard to school system, infrastructure, opportunities of the lake, Lake Michigan being close to Chicago, our quality of life.
Yeah.
We have the lowest property tax rate and our lowest lit in the state of Indiana. So in all reality, we can do a lot more with what we have in Porter County than a lot of other counties can. Plus, our park systems are top-notch, whether it be Valpo City parks and county parks. Our crime rate is super low,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
true.
just our downtown, the way they got Central Park going on and the various concerts and festivals. If you think about it, there's stuff going on year-round. Journeyman Distillery doing all that stuff. They started a market the other day. There's no way that somebody can say that lives in Porter County that I'm bored. If you're bored,
right.
You choose to be bored.
Yeah.
And you don't have to pay much for a really good education. It's like that was one of the things. You come out of Chicago, the best education is private. So, you're paying all these taxes, and then you're still paying more for your kids to go through a school and all this other stuff. we benefit greatly from that, and that's, I guess, one of the other reasons why I never left. It's why leave? You know,
Right,
we've got
yeah.
so much awesome here, and the people are great. You know, that's the other thing. It's when I started doing stuff, like one of the first charities I did was a Hot Wheels Race of Champions, and I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I've
heard of it. Yeah,
we are one of the largest, if not the largest, attended offerings under Urschel, the pavilion where the ice skating rink is. For a one-day event, we bring more people to that than any other event for the year.
Wow.
Just for that pavilion. Now, you
Wow.
know, we had 900 and something cars entered last year in a Hot Wheels race. It's amazing, but
It is.
nowhere else do you have a Hot Wheels race. Nowhere else do you have a popcorn fest. You know, those kind of things. And I don't know. It's cool. But early on in my life in Valpo, see, one of the things at the university was our head football coach at the time was big into getting back in the community. So we would have football players that would give, they would bag groceries at, it was Wiseway back then, now it'd be Strax, you know, the equivalent.
Yeah.
So we just got used to being out there, being the more visible in the community, helping people. And then I got involved with the Independent Order of Odd Fellows, which is an organization that has been in Valpo since 1848.
Wow.
They are the longest continuing fraternal organization in Porter County. And again, it's people helping people. And then I wanted to do some more, so I joined the Masons. And they didn't do as much as some of the other groups, so I kind of slid. You know, I'm still in there, but we don't do as much. I got involved with American Legion Post 94. Another fantastic, and I was in the leadership role there for quite a while, and we had all these parties and gatherings and events, and it was awesome, and it's still awesome, but it was just you start doing some things, and then you realize there's a little bit more to do. Like one of the other programs I've been doing for many years is we have a used bike giveaway program, and when we first started this years ago, I'd fixed a couple bikes for people that needed them, and they were used bikes, and then we'd give them away. Well, then it started getting a little bit more organized, going, okay, how can we get rid of more bikes? So we hooked up with the parks, city parks, and we would go to different pavilions and be there. But that was before social media and everything, so people had a hard time finding us sometimes.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
where are you going to be this week and that?
Right.
Well, then we got lucky. I don't know how the connection was made, but with Pastor Rich Schmidt. I can't believe I'm saying his name right. From the Living Hope Church on Calumet, right across from Old Fairgrounds Park.
Oh, yeah.
He said, hey, we've got a parking lot here. If you want to give away bikes here, that's great. Plus, we'll put you on the marquee. You know, the moment that happened, everything exploded. Last year, we gave away 450 bikes.
Wow.
The year before, we gave away about that many. And so we're there usually, if it's, you know, the warmer months, one or twice a month, depending on how much volume we have and how many phone calls I'm getting about when are you going to do this again. But we also fix bikes as well.
Oh, wow. Cool.
So people that, you know, are a little bit disadvantaged, they need a bike fixed, we fix it. They need a bike, we get it to them. Just 2 days ago, I got a phone call from a woman up by Golfview Apartments who her bike is her only form of transportation.
Oh.
Well, that and the V-Line, but the V-Line we know isn't. It's easier when you can navigate yourself instead of relying on some kind of a route, you know, and timetables. So back tire was flat, the gears were bad and everything else, so I got the bike, spent an hour on it, tuning it up, replacing stuff, and she's back on the road, and now as the weather's getting nicer, she's even happier. You know, so
that is great.
Yeah, so it's just, you know, and those are just a few of the things that that I've been a part of. You know, I guess in a sense, as I was doing all these things, I was already part of the community network. And then when it came time to, hey, political office is open, or something like in 2007-8, I represented District 10 in the State House. So I was a state rep for a brief period. And then the sad part is I got redistricted, and then that moved me from District 10 to District 4, which Ed Soliday is District 4.
Right.
And even though I gave him a really good run for his money, he beat me. So I kind of stepped back a little bit and said, okay, let's just kind of see what's going on. And then Karen Conover for the county council seat decided not to run again for re-election, years back. And so that's what I ran for that, and then I won it and had 2 consecutive terms. But that was one thing too in politics that was always, I would never run against somebody who's doing a good job, and I would never run against somebody who I liked. So I always thought Karen did a nice job, and even though she's a Republican and I'm a Democrat, I never ran against her because I felt that was it. I think if you're going to run for office, you're doing it for the right reasons. You think you can do a better job than someone either is already in there, or if it's an open seat, you're better than the person that's going to oppose you.
Right.
And you have an agenda of let's do great for our community, and the focus is that. It's not focused on me or a you, it's a we.
Yeah.
So that's been my philosophy. And even when I was in the State House, it was, how can we make our back then it was like 66,000 people representing down in the State House. How can we make our little part of the district, piece of the pie better, or every bit as valuable as everybody else? And back then it was unique. Back then when I was in the State House, the Democrats had the majority.
Whoa, that is different.
Yes, I know. A lot of people now, they're going, that actually happened? Yeah, back then we had the majority. But again, it's you work with the other side anyways. It's like with the council now. When I first got in, the council was 5-2 Democrats, Republicans, and then as time went on, it shifted. Now it's currently 5-2, 5 Republicans, 2 Democrats. And with this next election, we got to get through May 1st, and I've got a primary opponent. That's you all know that,
right.
But your listeners should be aware of that. So I've got somebody that, for whatever reason, they think they can either do a better job than me, or they want. I have no idea. I'll listen to your interview when you have him on and see what his reasons for running are. But if I'm lucky enough to win in May and then move on to November, then hopefully I get another 4 years in the district, and I can advance some more things that I've been working on. And let's get into that. What does a council person actually do?
Yeah, good question.
Okay. We are the fiscal body of the county. So anything dealing with money comes across our, we'll say, desk. Right? So if somebody wants to hire more people and their budget isn't there, they come in front of us and say, I am the so-and-so department. I need to hire another employee. Here's my reasons. And here's a salary that I think would be appropriate for this job. And can you please allocate the money so I can hire this person? Well, then we would look at that and say, okay, do you really need this person? Because every department always says they need somebody, or they need more equipment. There's always more so-called needs and wants than available money, okay?
Yeah.
So we have to navigate through that. And more often than not, unfortunately, through the process of communicating and realizing, they don't get what they're asking for. But it's not that we're bad guys, or not that I'm a bad guy. It's that I'll hang out with them and I'll talk with other members in their department and say, is this really necessary?
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, a lot of people, this is what's the other weird part. We deal with a lot of elected officials who are not accountable to anybody but the voters. So let's say, I don't know what department, the auditor, I don't know, I'm just throwing it, there's a million departments. The auditor gets elected and the council has they can do whatever they want. We can't do anything about it, okay? The only thing we can have over them is if the auditor or whatever department head says, I want to hire more people. Now we can reject that. But if the auditor is doing a bad job, or someone in front of some other is doing a bad job, we can't say you're fired, or whatever it is. We deal with it. We deal with it.
Right.
So sometimes when we have a department that has an elected official wanting stuff, we're like, well, sometimes they want it because that's what they campaigned on,
Right.
And it's like, well, we're no part of that. We had nothing to do with that. but we can control this over here. And then the other departments that are non-elected, same idea. It's like our health department, let's say. Great organization, one of the best departments in the state. And if they come up and say, I need to hire 3 more nurses. Okay, well, do you have any money from grants or anything else? Well, no. Okay, well, do you really need those 3 nurses? Or 2, or how can we get away if it's determined that they do need more help? How can we get them the help? We can't get you 3, but maybe we can get you 2 or possibly 1. And then, or can you share a nurse with another department and then share the expenses? Like, just for the sake of saying it, JDC has some nurses. So let's see, maybe that nurse can work at the JDC once a week, and then can they work in the health department downtown Valpo 4 days a week or whatever, or maybe north, in the Portage area. So we navigate all that, and then when all that stuff is exhausted, and then we sit back and say, all right, we're gonna allow you that next member to join your team, so to speak. But we have to make sure that the money is available that next year. We don't want to do is, we'll hire you this year, or we'll give you the money to hire your person this year, but after next year, you got to find your own money, what we like to is if somebody gets a grant, okay, is that person getting hired under a grant? If the grant runs out, don't come to us and ask for us to fund it, because we're allowing that position to be filled under the grant situation. So you better tell them that when they're hired, if the grant runs out, they're out of a job, unless you can find another grant, because the council is tapped out of money. So, and it's a candid conversation, a very honest conversation, and one where everybody walks out of the room or knowing, okay, we get this, because the last thing I want is to increase any kind of taxation on behalf of the people, and I'm one of them, by the way. I have never voted for a tax increase about anything, and I go to Walmart, and sometimes I see it getting hijacked. Someone might recognize me and say, "Hey, I heard about," or "What's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, it's part of the job." You deal with the public, and I welcome that, but I have to defend it. Like, okay, we were considering this, or I don't know where you heard that, but that's not true, Or when these reporters call and say, I heard that you're going to increase this. Well, I'm not sure what conversation you heard, but that's not one I've been involved in. So go talk to somebody else, because anything that deals with increase in funding has to come in front of it comes in the council meeting and in front of all the public, and public has a chance to comment on stuff. Everything's open. Everything is and that's how I like it, because again, I'm a member of the community. So, I want a safe community. I want an honest community. I want where our tax dollars are being spent correctly community, and I can go to other counties and even other states and brag about Porter County being something to look at as the way to do things correctly, So that's how I look at that.
I see. Yeah.
Kind of a lot, I know.
That is a lot. It's a complex job, and it sounds like there's a lot of, deliberation and a lot of communication necessary, with all these different parties and perspectives. And another thing too, we all are liaisons to the departments. So, and we just did that the first meeting of the year. We sit back and look and say, okay, 2 or 3 council members, usually 2, they represent a department on behalf of the whole council. So, like, if there's I'm in a health department one. So if there's a health department issue, they'll call me in, or one of the other, the other liaison, and say, hey, this is what we're thinking, or this is what we'd like to do, and we want to come in front of the council and present to everyone. What do you think? Or we meet with them quite a bit and say, hey, there's things out there. Can we be a part of that? So there's a lot of behind the scenes meetings that go on, so that we're not bogging down a council meeting once a month with all these departments coming in with all these asks. It's easier to talk to a couple people and then have us then communicate through the council, and spread it that way. So this way our meetings are much more efficient in regards to the council meetings. So that's something too. So the good, if you're going to be a good council member, you're available for these meetings. Matter of fact, I was in 2 of them right before this interview here today.
And I'd like to say that, well, they appreciate because you're coming in, giving your time up for their needs, wants, concerns, that kind of a thing. So it's not just showing up to a council meeting once a month to deal with financial issues.
Right.
It's if you're going to do it correctly, you're meeting with a lot of people, a lot of times, and you're looking for ways to make us better. Like I've gone to a couple other communities and they've done some festivals and stuff. I'm like, why aren't we doing a festival like that? So then I'll see something, come to our county, our parks department, and say, hey, listen, there's this festival, and sometimes they'll go, yeah, we're gonna hook into that, or hey, if you want to do it, we'll give you park time, and then you can bring it in, and okay. And I started a kite festival last year, basically.
I went to that.
Oh, awesome! Hope you had a great time.
Yeah.
And you had a nice kite that we gave you, right?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we just got another grant for to increase the scope of the Kite Fest.
Oh. So
we're going to be advertising it some more. And the weather last year, we gave away 192 kites. I think that was the number. 190, and I want to say, for some reason, 192 pops in my head. But anyways, it was, I hope you had a great time.
Yeah.
Okay. And for some reason, I either forgot you were there or had no idea. But so this has been unabated. That you voluntarily said you had a great time and you enjoyed it,
right,
without me saying I'm out of here if you don't say yes.
Yeah. I feel like the weather was great for it too.
Yeah, in the morning it was terrible, and then it got really good.
Yeah, we came towards the end or something like that.
Oh, okay. Then you would. The grass was already dry and the wind was still blowing. Yeah, I will tell you that. One of the coolest stories I say about that day is this young girl came up and she had she was like looking lost. And I'm like, can I help you? And she goes, yeah, I heard about this kite thing. And I'm like, well, where'd you hear about it? She goes, well, I was driving down the road and I saw these kites in the air. And then she must have lived really close to there because she said she got on her computer and Googled something and it said Kite Fest for suicide prevention awareness. And one of her friends had killed himself 6 months previous. And she felt compelled to come back. So she says, well, how's working? I go, well, let's go get you a kite. And, they're free. And have you ever flown a kite before? And she said, no, I have no idea, which I thought was interesting. A lot of people there had never flown a kite before, which was awesome for us to be able to have them experience something cool and new. So she had a hard time getting it off the ground, and I went over to her and I said, do you need some help? She goes, no. And she was very awesomely nice. She goes, no offense, but I need to do this myself because I'm doing it on behalf of this person. Awesome. So she got a little frustrated. She sat down and she was looks like she was just reflecting.
Yeah.
I lost track of things and I come back around, 15, 20 minutes. Next thing I look and she's got a kite up in the air. And this thing is way the heck up there.
Awesome.
Now at that point, she had sat down and she was just holding, because when a kite goes about a couple hundred feet in the air, you're just holding it, it's like on a cruise control. And I looked at her and she looked up at her kite and she was just staring at us. So I'm like, wow, this is awesome. She's in this moment of reflection and she's probably thinking about her friend and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, then about 20 minutes later, she pulled the kite down and she came over and said, thank you very much. This was awesome. And she went to give me the kite. I said, no, the kite is yours. It's a gift. And she was just ecstatic. And as she walked away, I'm just like, wow, that is the epitome of what we were hoping to do, where people participated in the experience of it. And she was able to reflect on her friend and got some, I would hope, inner peace.
Yeah.
Because one of the things with suicide, and that's the other thing, I started the Suicide Prevention Task Force. It's been going for 6 years now. But one of the things that we found is the movies have it all wrong. It seems like you watch a movie or a TV show, when somebody kills himself, there's a note, and you know what? That's unbelievably rare. So more often than not, when somebody takes their own life, people that are left behind are wondering why this happened.
Yeah.
And that part eats people up. So for me to see her reflect, because I'm sure that was going through her mind. There's no doubt in my mind. And to be able to have a little bit of piece for her because of this event, to me, makes it all worth it. And I know there's plenty of other stories there. I just didn't, I wasn't aware of them, so to speak. And so next year when we do it again, and it'll come in September again, the third Saturday in September, we're going to expand a little bit and just do some more cool stuff.
That's awesome.
But that was the other thing, you're again, as the council or as a person just getting out in the community, you see some things and you're talking to people, and if someone says, hey, why don't we have, and in my position, I've got the power to either bring some people together and have that discussion, or to initiate it itself and say, well, let's go. And it takes time from me, and away from me from other stuff, but to me, it's worth it. Because I never got involved in being on the council or being in any political thing as a selfish act. It was always what can I do to help make our community better? Or how can I help other people help our community get better? I can sit at a table and have an open mind and listen to a discussion and go, that might work, that might not work. And sometimes I'll sit at a meeting and I won't even say a word at all because it's unnecessary, You won't see me beating my chest and saying, look what I have done. It's unbelievably, and I'll say I don't ever recall doing it. It's always, look what we have done. Because it takes more than one person to have a community built the way we have it, And I don't care if you're in a city of Portage, Valpo, Couts, whatever, it's or somebody in a county in South, it doesn't matter. It's all, we all live here. We all want this to be a great place for our involvement, our navigation through it, and why can't we keep it? We've achieved it. Let's keep it.
Right. Hello, WVOP listeners. This interview with Greg Sims is cut short so that we can show both of the candidates within this episode of Unscripted with Daniel. However, you can see the full episode of Greg Sims and I on my YouTube channel. Just go to Unscripted with Daniel at YouTube or Daniel Donovan on YouTube, and you'll find the interview with Greg Sims. I highly encourage you check out the whole thing. Okay, thank you. And now we're going to skip ahead to the end of my interview with Greg Sims.
Well, I say hopefully I fulfilled yours, because I know we started, rambling about stuff, but this is your interview, and I want to make sure that your listeners are hearing the good stuff, and again, they can make a good determination when they choose to vote. I'm on the Democrat side, so if they're a Republican-minded person and they go to the ballot box in May, my name will not be on that list, and that's just how primaries are. You have to pick a party, and that's the ballot you get. So if you're a Democrat-minded person listening, and all I ask is give me some consideration, and I'm sure my information will be hitting your door at some point in the next month or so, and go from there. But or give me a call, give me from the county office. And I'll be happy to answer questions or, whatever. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
Do you want them to contact you anywhere? Do you have a website?
You know what? We have Facebook. I've got a Facebook. Or just, here's a phone number at 219-477-3754. And that's my home number. And cool. If I'm not there, leave a message and I'll get back to you. So
awesome.
All good. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for this interview, Greg. And maybe I'll see you again at another interview and getting updates on what's going on in the county. And
I'm always available for that too. So if you ever want to know what's going on, don't hesitate. I do have some people that call me on occasion and go, "What's the new scoop?" or something. And that sounds absolutely. I got no problem with that at all. That's why I do what I do, and I want to continue for at least 4 more years, and then, because that's the thing too, is just 4 more years, and then I'm done.
I see.
Because I do believe too that other people should have opportunity, or whatever. It's. I don't believe in career politician stuff. You get in, you got a mission. However long it takes, complete that mission, and then let somebody else come in and carry the torch and go from there. So,
maybe I'll follow up on the transportation stuff.
That sounds good. Absolutely. Welcome it. Sure.
Thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoyed that interview. This has been Unscripted with Daniel. and hopefully it's still recording. All right, bye-bye. And now for a short commercial break. Do you enjoy Unscripted with Daniel? Then you should go to my YouTube channel and click subscribe. If you're listening on the radio, you can do it after you listen to this broadcast. Do you like WVLP and support this radio station and like what it brings to your ears today and other days? Consider supporting WVLP by going to wvlp.org/support. Welcome to Unscripted with Daniel. Today we have Jack Tippold, and he will be running for Porter County Councilmember of District 3. And I'm just going to introduce you to him. He can tell you a bit about himself, and then we'll get into this interview. How about that?
Sounds good, Daniel. Thank you for having me here today.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it. Well, my name's Jack Tippold. I am running for Porter County Council District 3. I've got the experience. I've got the background to do this job. So a little bit about me. I lived here in Union Township, Valpo area for roughly 26 years. My wife, Mitzi, and I've been married 27 years this Friday. I have a son, my oldest son, Spencer. He's 25, graduated from Wheeler High School. He's currently in the United States Air Force, so he's serving there. So he's been in a little over 4 years now, so he just re-enlisted. My youngest son is down in Bloomington. Good year to be down in Bloomington. And he's enjoying all the events that are around the football team and everything else this year, but he's been down there, and he's doing real well with his schoolwork and everything else. So
that's great.
We're real proud of him. Both my boys. But yeah, I raised my family here. About 3 years ago, my wife and I, with the boys being gone, we decided to go ahead and downsize. We sold our house out in Shorewood, moved downtown. We love the downtown area. Valpo's such a great city. Honestly, it's nothing like it in this area, that's for sure. And we wanted to be part of that community, and we moved down. Great neighbors, they accepted us right out of the gate. We've got just fantastic neighbors, and the neighborhood in general has just been great. So we love it down there. Walk down to the restaurants and the concerts and catch a VU game, and so it's been a lot of fun. So we're really enjoying it. But as far as the involvement and wanting to run. Look, I've been helping working families for just shy of 30 years. I've worked out at the old Bethlehem Steel, now it's Cleveland Cliffs plant, for 33 years. I've worked out there. This coming up May will be 33 years. I've been a union rep, organizer, officer, served on numerous committees for the last 30 years, helping working families, helping our union brothers and sisters, and a whole range of different things. I sit on the committees for an organization called Veterans of Steel, which gives veterans, primarily veterans that are in the steel industry, but it's a broad stroke. We help really any veterans that are in need of help. Tells them the benefits that are available to them, help them go to the VA, get their percentages bumped up for their disabilities and things like that. So education things that's available to them, help them with those. I also sit on a committee it's called Steelworkers for Kids, and just helping needy families during Christmas time. Usually, concentrated in the Porter County, Lake County, and LaPorte County with that. So I've been doing both those committees for quite a while, and heavily involved with them. Been out as far as the union, like I said, I'm an organizer, internal and external organizer. I'm out. I've sat on committees for when we go into negotiations for our contract talks, which this year we will be in negotiations out in Pittsburgh, so trying to get a fair contract for our members. Right now, there's several NIPSCOs. they're going to be having some issues with their contracts and trying to get things ironed out. BP is currently on strike.
Okay.
So they're having troubles getting their representation, and getting their voices heard across the table there. But we hope that those things will be ironed out and they'll get a fair contract and be able to move on.
I'm curious, because I just don't know what's going on at BP that people are striking.
There's a number of things. Safety issues out there. It's always a big concern. Of course, fair wages.
Yeah.
They're not asking for anything outrageous. Maintaining their benefits and retirement package, things of that nature, and the percentages there. Vacation time is always a big issue. Primarily the insurance. Healthcare is gone through the roof. The cost is outrageous, and it's going to be an issue that's going to be on the table when they're negotiating, and they're going to have to find a way to settle for something that enhances the membership and also is fair across the board, with the company and with their members. That's what negotiations are all about.
Yeah.
Finding something that's fair and equitable for both parties. They'll get there. And if they don't, they'll stay out one day longer. Until they get some resolve. So I got to wish them all the best.
Here's a question that just comes to mind just because we're talking about unions and your involvement in them. How will you apply your union experience to being a council member in Porter County?
Well, you have to be very vigilant on the contracts that are going on.
Yeah.
And they have the trades involved with those, get their BAs to be able to negotiate and the agreements that are made. Make sure that there is language in there that represents a union contract. Yeah. And pay union wages. So that's very important. Look, in this area, the unions are very strong. Mm-hmm. And they're really the heart and soul of the middle class here, working class families. But it goes beyond that. You don't have to be a union to feel what's been going on.
Right.
And I've said this before. There's no greater education than standing on a picket line, information line, or a picket line. And I've stood on hundreds of them. Over the years. That's where you really get your education as far as what our members are feeling. They're out there on a picket line. They're worried naturally about their responsibilities. They've got house payments, car payments, just bills in general. Yeah, raising kids. I'm feeling the impact of the cost of college with my youngest boy. It's a hard pill to swallow every month. There's a lot involved. Going out there and spending time with the members, I'm not out there for a 25-minute photo op. I'm out there on the line with them. I know what's going on with them. I know their concerns. I know why they're worried about their NIPSCO bill. I know why they're worried about the price of groceries, okay? I know. I've been there. And it's important that we get language in that to protect working class families. That's one of the most instrumental things in me wanting to run is to help the working families here in District 3. And in District 3, one thing I noticed, and this is another reason, this is one of the main reasons, the incumbent, Greg, he's where is Greg? Even when he's there physically at the meetings, he's not there. He's not there representing District 3 from what I've seen. This past December, they had the most important meeting about passing the budget. Greg wasn't even at that meeting. Where's District 3's representation? Where's District 3's representation when VU's having a land sell-off? Where's our voice about the tax dollars that are going to be lost and who's picking up the bill for that? That's Central Valparaiso, the city of Valparaiso. The townships, in some cases, aren't paying their fair share. That's going unnoticed. They need a representative who's going to fight for them, District 3, not just check the box as a county councilman, but you are elected to represent District 3, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
For working families.
Working families, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and this involves, you know, again, it's a broad stroke, teachers, elderly, the small businesses. I mean, you know, I get it, you know, and like I said, I've been out there talking to people. We have a great team put together for this campaign. We're excited about it. And I'm ready for this election. I've been looking forward to it, quite honestly. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy. Right now, we're reaching out. We're making phone calls to the different precincts. I'll just let them know that probably within the next 7-8 days, we'll be out hitting the neighborhoods, just to give them a heads up that we're going to be out there. Looking forward to meeting everybody and just hearing what they're, you know, what's going on with them. You know, what's going on in our neighborhoods. Yeah. And then to translate that into representation when I get on the council.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And standing up for them and standing up for their issues and concerns. Okay. I think that currently the incumbent has lost touch with that, and he's been there. This will be, I think, his 4th term. It's time for some change over there in District 3, and I'm looking forward and I'm up for the challenge.
Okay. Yeah. So you listed one thing where he didn't show up to a budget meeting. Was there any other issues that you could see, like examples of how he may not be addressing some specific issue?
Sure. Tax rates are falling back on the city versus these townships. The calculations are different. Look, we're the hub of the county. There's no question about that. Through the jail, through the courts. Where was Greg during the issues on the hospital? Where was Greg? And like I said, physically he may even be there, but he's not speaking up. He's not doing anything that is representing our district. He is checking the box and going with the flow of the some of the other council members, that their interests are naturally their districts. But it needs to be divvied up a little more fairly. And again, and we'll talk again, Daniel.
Yeah.
I'll bring, you know, we can get more in depth today. You know, I know you said you just wanted to keep this as a kind of like an introduction. Yeah. But you know, I've done my homework, and we'll get deep into that. But Greg just isn't representing the district as it should be. Okay. And a lot of people feel that way. I've been making phone calls. I've been out talking to people. We've got I've been a string of endorsements through the current officials from the Democratic Party to the trades, the USW, the laborers, just a host of endorsements that have been flowing in steadily. It's going to be a good campaign. I don't believe in running any kind of a smear campaign or anything like that.
Right.
My intentions are to run our platform, and our platform is to properly represent District 3 and their issues. Yeah. And make sure that the other townships are being held responsible for their financial responsibilities too. It just isn't fair to take money from the city and disperse it, whether it be paving roads out in the middle of rural, parts of the county versus here in the inner city of Valparaiso. Those are issues that need to be addressed, and we need to see action. So
I see.
And it stems from sidewalks and we have seen a little bit of sidewalk repairs and things, but in a broad look of the county as a whole, and then what's going on here in Valparaiso. It isn't being distributed fairly.
And you're allowed to go into details on this because I'm just curious. So what is unfair that's exactly happening?
Well, like I said, when you're seeing country roads being paved and maintained and the infrastructure is being put in place with drainage and things like that, you're not always seeing that in the city, okay, in a fair, equitable manner. And it should be. Like I said, we generate the tax dollars. The residents of Valparaiso that live in the city hub should be getting the same fair treatment in Porter County as the rural country roads and that aspect of things. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Or picking up the tag for the Opera House. Okay. That was something that, here again, Greg was nowhere to be found. He was there, but he wasn't there. They put the responsibility onto the city of Valpo, relieving them of the responsibility. Yet they want to have ownership of the building. They want to have reap the benefits of it, but they don't want the responsibilities that come with it. So just there's a list of things that we're studying, we're watching, and seeing how some of this has played out since Greg's been in. And like I said, that was one of the main reasons that I felt the need to run, that it's not fair for our residents not to be represented.
Yeah.
Not at all getting represented. It's not right.
So you would say if our roads were more well-paved and there were less potholes, more equitably distributed as far as road repairs, right, then people would be more adequately represented. Are there any other ways that you'd use your position as a council member in order to give representation to the people?
Look, I'm a veteran.
Yeah.
And one thing that I learned while I was in the service was just how to talk to people. It isn't about an R or a D or their political affiliation. Mm-hmm. It's about getting things done.
Yeah.
And finding a way to get things done and leaving it better than when you came in.
Yeah.
I'm not a career politician, not by any means. I'm in this for the residents, for my neighbors, for my family, mm-hmm, to make it better. To continue to make it better, and to be a watchdog to see how these monies are being divvied up all around the county, not just the rural or the other townships being able to kind of extract from some of the city services with not a level playing field. Okay, that needs to be looked at, mm-hmm, and those monies need to be distributed equally.
As far as the inequality there, I know that you talked about roads. Are there any other inequalities there as far as the townships and how those monies are distributed?
Well, I'll say this too.
Yeah.
Look, Valpo University is in a little bit of a crisis here. Mm-hmm. And that's not something that isn't news. We know what's going on. They're selling off their properties. They're down, which means less tax dollars. Again, there isn't a plan B. There isn't any kind of a structure on how these these structures are being sold off, or the properties that are being sold off, and then a plan B for recouping that. Okay.
Yeah.
We need to sit down, talk with VU, see what their plans are and what their issues are as far as what's their decisions on what's prompting them to make decisions on these land sales. Okay, and then we should have some input into that, and we should have a design plan in the event that something more catastrophic happens with Valpo University. I mean, it would be a huge blow to the economy here in this town. No question about it. We have to do our best to preserve that.
Yeah.
But we also have to understand that if it's inevitable that there's going to be a shift in the university, then we need to be prepared for that, mm-hmm, and have someone that can represent the District 3 to navigate through that, but also someone who has the ability to work both sides of the table, not just the Democrats, not just the Republicans. I've been in this game for a long time. Like I said, approaching 30 years. I do a lot of the political work for the United Steelworkers. I've worked with a lot of these candidates on both sides of the fence. I have good working relationships with them. They know me. Like I said, I've got a reputation of getting things done. I always have. And I'm going to translate that into helping the residents of District 3, for sure. Sure.
That is good that you say you've worked on both sides of the aisle, and you have worked on both sides of the aisle, and that gives you maybe an empathy for all viewpoints, and I think that that's something that's important. As someone who's sitting on the council, you'll have to talk to a lot of people of varying views and understand their perspectives.
And the perspectives of the diversity of this, how important it is to maintain the diversity of this town. That's what makes this town so great.
Yeah.
And look, we've had a huge influx of people moving in from Illinois.
Yeah.
Okay. Yet, in my neighborhood, in the blocks, north and south of me, everybody gets along. I mean, in the summertime, on a Saturday afternoon, I'm walking around, I'm seeing people talk in the front yards. And like I said, it isn't about race, what political affiliation you have, male, female, gender, none of that. It's neighbors, helping neighbors.
Yeah.
We had a big storm come through, trees everywhere. Within 15 minutes of the storm, passing through, chainsaws, everybody getting together, cutting trees off of the cars that were smashed underneath them, and my neighbors were amazing. And that's when I really, really started. I told my wife, this is special down here, because even growing up, I grew up in Hobart. I'm a third generation steelworker. So we were middle class, thousands of kids in the neighborhood playing. It was good times, man. And I see that in downtown Valpo. There's kids all over the place. They're not just locked in the house playing video games in the summer. They're out riding their bikes. We have a paved alley. Kids, I make it every time I cut the grass, I make it my mission to go do the entire length of the alley with the blower, because kids are riding and they're running down there, and that's where everybody's garbage cans are, right? And, you have nails and glass, so you always want to make sure that they're going to be safe and sound back there. But it's a great neighborhood, and I want to help keep building that, and I attribute a lot of that to the diversity of Valpo. Look, I've represented. That's what I've made a career out of, representing those that aren't maybe being represented, whether it be minorities, women. Fair, equitable pay for women doing the same job should be making the same money, but that isn't the case across this country.
Right.
And it should be an issue. But again, there's things that are in your day-to-day life that local politics will impact you much more than on a national level. Much more. On your day-to-day life, through the schools, through the buses picking up your kids, your garbage, your local police, your firemen, your infrastructure of your sewers and water lines, things like that. That's your day-to-day life.
Right.
Okay. NIPSCO is your day-to-day life. Okay. And there should be a voice. They need to get this straightened out. There are families that are in situations where they're deciding whether they can eat food or pay their NIPSCO bill. And that's real life, and that's what's going on. And it isn't just the people, under $65,000 a year. This is impacting the upper and middle class. It's that big of an impact. It's a combination of things. Like I said, the price of gas, which has been high for a while, but the groceries, which have absolutely skyrocketed. Medicine and medical care skyrocketing, and then now we got NIPSCO. There should have been something in place. There's a lot of different concepts that people are talking, different ideas that people are talking about that maybe could have been put up front, first, whether it be the easement of certain taxes or whatnot. until they get, until they can get this resolved. But there's got to be something to help our working families, and they got to have a voice to stand up for that, and they got to have someone who has the ability to organize these voices.
Yeah.
Just pounding on a desk and raising a bunch of heck over something. There's a time and place for that, I guess, but that isn't going to get the job done. You got to be able to get in there, negotiate, figure out hard nuts and bolts issues, and get all parties at the table and get this resolved.
Yes.
Right? And it takes someone with experience to do that, and I have that experience. And like I said, these are just some of the things that I know that, when I go to the doors and I'm on the phones talking to our residents, these are the things that are coming up, back to back to back. It's not really hard to figure it out. It's right there in our face, and nobody's really stepping up to do anything about it.
Yeah. Affordability.
Right. Yeah. The housing that affordability. That's another.
Right.
But we've got to be able to help these families and find programs out there for them. If they're in need, let's find these programs and make it transparent. They got to be able to not just have to get on the internet and try to find it themselves, maybe necessarily, or a lot of times the bureaucracies in these pages aren't that friendly, navigational friendly. And a lot of our elderly too. Our elderly, they're not tech savvy.
No.
And they have to be, just because they can't get their information paperless, doesn't mean they don't get their information.
Yeah.
All right, we got to make that a priority. Mm-hmm. They have to be informed on what's going on, what's out there for them, and not just through internet. Not through email. They have to have something tangible. The old school paper, you have to do that for you. You still have to maintain that kind of level of service.
And when you're talking about informing the elderly or people who are not tech savvy, what type of information are you seeking to inform them about?
Well, any kind of programs that are out there through healthcare needs, any kind of free shots, any kind of reduced medical costs that are out there for them, transportation maybe to and from medical facilities that and the routes that are available to them.
Hello, Unscripted with Daniel listeners on WVOP. We do not have enough time to show the entire Jack Tippold interview, but what you can do is check out the entire interview on my YouTube channel, Unscripted with Daniel, or just Daniel Dunavant on YouTube. So, with that being said, we're going to skip to the end of the interview so you can see us parting ways.
I do believe it's time to get some representation. And for that reason alone, like I said, he showed his true colors to me. So, those are things that people need to know about. There's a host of things that are out there, but, you need to know that you got someone that's got your back, and you're not going to win every battle. I'm not going to go in there and tell you we're going to change the world. We're going to make some changes. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But you don't win them all. But at least one thing I can guarantee you: if you don't represent and you don't get your voice brought to the table, you will not win that particular issue or that particular argument. Okay. But if you're up there, you got your facts, and you're proudly representing the residents and why you're representing them, and you have the ability to translate that into both sides of the table, the R's and the D's. It's all common sense politics, man. Take care of your people that are in your communities.
Yeah.
The money's there. Take care of it.
Simple.
Yeah.
You know what? Thank you so much for coming in. I've heard some shocking things, informative things, and I appreciate all of it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And
appreciate you giving me the opportunity, Daniel.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. And I look forward to coming here again, and we'll talk in detail about some more of the other issues. As my team's out getting information, I'd like to come back here and talk about it openly, and let you know what the residents are saying. You're not going to get that from the other candidate. I'll tell you that right now. So I'm looking forward to representing this district.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Daniel.
Thanks for joining me on Unscripted with Daniel. And if you're watching on WVLP, be sure to tell a friend about this great broadcast. And if you're listening on YouTube, then subscribe and like this video. Thanks so much. See you next time.